We're here with our NPL Season 2 recap. If you guys did not know, which I don't know why you would, we have been eliminated from playoff contention. We lost our first round of our playoff match against Rezilient in the Borussia Darkrai, who we lost to in Week 1 as well. If you guys have not seen the battle, I will definitely link that battle in the description below. Make sure you guys go check it out from his perspective, because I unfortunately will not be posting my half of the battle just because of lack of time and other issues related to that and things like and whatnot. But anyways, we are going to be here talking about how our season went. We, of course, were the coach of the Reno Regis in Season 2 of the NPL. We finished 10-2 with a plus 21 differential, 5-1 in the division. We actually took second place overall out of everybody. I think I can actually go over right here, yes. So we took second place only behind the Portland Crowbats. We actually won some awards this season as well. If you guys have not seen that video as well, that video will be linked in the description below, or it should be at least. My microphone is all kinds of fucked up, so I'll just hold it. But anyways, Mega Venusaur was actually named Season 2 of the NPL MVP, as well as Defensive Mon of the Year, which is very exciting. I believe Sneasel was the third place contender for 7th Mon of the Year, which was a Mon that came to 6 or less games and put in work. And we actually took second place only behind Alpha Drops, coach of the Rocky Mountain Marowaks, for Coach of the Year as well. So I mean, that's very exciting. But at the end of the day, we achieved our goal, which was to make playoffs. That gave us a shot, and we blew our shot against the Borussia Darkrai, who is apparently my kryptonite. But nonetheless, congratulations to Rezilient. And in fact, I'm recording this at the time that the semifinals have actually been finished. So make sure you guys go check those out before you continue with this video, because I'm about to spoil what happened. So there's your warning. But anyways, our boy Rezilient, who beat us in the playoffs, will actually be in the NPL finals, taking on Adam the Bee's Knees and the Kansas City Kakunas. Two teams I have had a history with. Rezilient, we obviously played 3 times this season, and we were in the GPSL with him way back long ago on my channel. And Adam the Bee's Knees, we actually played against in the NPL tryout tournament. And both of us ended up making it into the NPL. And he's in the finals now, representing the Johto Conference, and Rezilient is representing the Kanto Conference. So I encourage you guys to definitely check out those videos when they get posted. But now that we're done with NPL stuff as a whole, we're going to start talking about our season for the Reno Regis. So, as I said, we finished 10-2 plus 21. Mega Venusaur is absolutely the MVP of this season. 14 kills, 5 deaths, brought to 10 games and won 9 of them. I believe the only 2 he did not come to were Week 4 against the Bayern Munchlax and Week 7 against the Sin City Star Raptors. Jirachi came to the most games this season, came to 11. I believe the only one it didn't come to was Week 5 against the Portland Crowbats. Finished 7-7, so my bold prediction at the beginning of the season did not come true. Believe it or not, Jirachi did not get 18 kills. But nonetheless, Jirachi definitely was still a great member of the team. The only thing that sucked about using Jirachi is it usually ended up being in kind of a defensive role. But nonetheless, I still had a lot of fun using it. I would definitely draft it again if I had the opportunity to, but not anytime soon, because I'm not a fan of drafting the same stuff over and over again. I kind of want to try out new stuff. Then again, I'm the guy who's drafted rotom-mow 3 times in a row now. But anyways, Mega Venusaur is absolutely just a defensive tank all season long. There was nothing that could kill it in one hit. And everything that did, I made sure that it got out of the way of Mega Venusaur so it could just sit there for days and put in work. Togekiss came to 8 games this season, won 6 of them, ended up getting 7 kills and 4 deaths. Togekiss was definitely a very valuable member of the team. It came to 8 games. It was an incredible wall. It was an incredible heal bell user. I believe I used it as a wish pass user 1 week, and it worked incredibly in tangent with Jirachi with their Serene Grace bullshitness. If you want to know about Serene Grace bullshitness, you can just ask Alpha, the coach of the Rocky Mountain Marowaks. He knows a lot about that. Moving on, we'll talk about Hydreigon. Came to 9 games this season, won 7 of them, ended up going 6-6. Now, Hydreigon definitely did not do as much as nearly as much as I thought it was going to do. But that's just because Hydreigon was never really a win condition. Hydreigon was kind of a kill this Pokemon and then it's kind of a sack later kind of mon. That crippling quad weakness to Fairy, that was backed up by Mega Venusaur, Tentacruel, and Jirachi this season, as well as Chandelure, technically, but that was never really used defensively. But that really was a crippling weakness, but at the end of the day, Hydreigon definitely put in work. I'm so glad we got to use Bulky Hydreigon. I'm so glad we got to use Banded Hydreigon. I would definitely love to draft it again, and I would absolutely recommend that you guys draft him as well if you have an opportunity to. Now, Tentacruel, moving on, a Cruel Tent, came to 5 games, won all 5 of them. I believe him and Dugtrio were the only Pokemon. No, Sock and Arceus as well, so never mind. But Tentacruel came to 5 games, won all 5 of them, had 3 kills, 2 deaths. I believe all 3 of those kills actually came in Week 3 against the Rocky Mountain Marowaks. Tentacruel was my spinner this season. It was usually used as a wall. I don't know why people... It's not very common to run offensive Tentacruel, but it was usually a good physical wall and a good special wall and a good rapid spinner, good toxic spike setter when I needed it to be, good scald burner when I needed it to be, and overall it was just a good utility mon. Obviously Tentacruel didn't put in the most work, but it definitely did what it had to do. Now moving on to my personal favorite Pokemon used this season, even more than the MVP Mega Venusaur, and that was my homie Drug Trio. Oh my god, I can't believe I called him that. But my homie Dugtrio played in 6 games, won all 6 of them, had 8 kills, 6 deaths. He died in every single game he was brought to, but that's okay because Dugtrio's job was, if I didn't have a check to say something like Victini or Terrakion or Mega Charizard X or something like that, well, I mean, I guess I can just let something die and then go into Dugtrio and kill that thing. It's a foolproof plan, even though it was really simple. But Dugtrio was an absolute monster. And if you guys have not heard, Dugtrio is getting a slight stat buff for 7th gen, so that's very exciting. I would love to use Dugtrio again, and I'm honestly considering using Dugtrio in like ladder play and stuff like that. Next up is Chandelure, who came to 5 games, won 3 of them, had 4 kills, 3 deaths, and overall, Chandelure definitely, it was a good 9th round pick. Like, it definitely didn't do the most, but it did what it needed to do. It was a scary threat for my opponents to prep for, particularly I remember Aki telling me that he was pretty excited when Rezilient won, that he didn't have to come up with another check for Chandelure because it put in work against his team. When Chandelure needed to be a threat, it was a threat. And I'm honestly very happy with it. I think it's a great Pokemon to use in the format if you guys want to try it out. Really, the only thing I can say that's hindering is the fact that it has base 80 speed. But at the end of the day, 145 special attack is nothing to laugh at. Speaking of laughing, you guys can probably hear my mom laughing in the background, which is great. Up next is Sneasel, who came to 6 games, won 4 of them, had 11 kills and 4 deaths. Sneasel was an excellent member of the team this season. I think we got it at just the right time when we drafted him back in like the 6th round, I think. I believe it was the 6th round. It might have been the 7th round. But Dark Ice is such great coverage. I mean, it's like a less good Weavile, and actually something really interesting is that Weavile was on the Portland Crowbats this season, and Sneasel ended up with more kills and less deaths than it. But I think that's not to say that Sneasel is a better Pokemon. I just think that I saw more value in Sneasel than Aki did in Weavile. Like Aki at one point said that Weavile was kind of like my Hydreigon, was a kill this mon and then was a sack later. Sneasel was usually a win condition for me just because a lot of teams struggled to deal with good Ice Stab. So Sneasel was I was very happy we had it this season. I think it did excellent. Up next is rotom-mow, who came to 4 games, won 3 of them, had 2 kills and 3 deaths. I've used rotom-mow in the past. I'm pretty sick of using it. Not to say it's a bad mon, it's a great mon. I just definitely didn't feel like it didn't have the matchups that it did previously in other leagues this season, just because a lot of teams were able to prep for electric types. And I had Mega Venusaur as good grass stab, so I didn't always need it to be the grass type powerhouse it needed to be. So that usually kind of fell back into a bulky role, support role, if I needed it to be Thunder Wave some things, Will-O-Wisp some things, Volt Switch on some things. Still a great mon. Honestly, you probably won't see me draft it for a very long time because I'm pretty sick of using it. I've used it in the GPSL, the NPL Tryout Tournament, and now the NPL. So I'm pretty sick of it. Sock. I think Sock was the most disappointing thing I had this season. Not to say that Sock is a bad mon. I mean, just I didn't find an opportunity to use Sock. I have actually never used Sock before this league in ladder play or any kind of situation like that. It just looked like a good on-paper mon. I originally wanted Hitmonlee or Hitmontop as a fighting type. Those got taken by the Long Island Golducks and the Portland Crowbats, respectively. So I really wanted a good fighting type, and on paper, Sock looked great, and I just never found a really good opportunity to use it. I mean, its first 2 kills, and only 2 kills this season, came in Week 10. And it only came to 3 games. So, I mean, I would highly recommend Sock, because on paper, it's a great mon. You just got to figure out how to use it. I couldn't. So, honestly, I feel like Sock is more disappointed in me than I am in it. But moving on is probably another fan favorite. Or not fan favorite. I don't know why you guys would favorite this mon, but I love this mon, and that was Archeops, who came to 5 games, won 5 of them, had 1 kill, 4 deaths. On paper, it's like, why did this thing do so good? Why do you like this mon? Because when it came, it did its job. It put up rocks. It taunted mons. It was such a gimmicky Pokemon, and it was actually really difficult. My mom's still laughing in the background. I think she's watching Saturday Night Live, even though it's Monday afternoon. But nonetheless, Archeops did excellent this season, and it was such a gimmicky mon, and at the same time it was so difficult to use that it was kind of a challenge almost. Like, I remember having to calc around things. Like, one thing I remember calcing for the battle against the Borussia Darkrai in the finals when they had Mega Pinsir was no attack with an Expert Belt, which is actually the set I ran, was actually able to OHKO non-HP, non-defensively invested Mega Pinsir, even if it wasn't a Fetus range. So it was like one of those Pokemon that you kind of really had to play around with, and it was a lot of fun to use just because it was so difficult to use. I would highly recommend Archeops, even though it's not the greatest mon on paper, but I would highly recommend you guys use it if you ever get an opportunity to. So moving on, the last thing we'll talk about is I kind of want to go over individually each game that we had this season. Now, the first match against the Borussia Darkrai, we all know, that was just the really bad luck on my part, but I'm not salty about it. I never was. I mean, it's the game we play. I kind of deserved it for drafting Jirachi and Togekiss, to be honest. But Rezilient absolutely out-prepped me. He had a great team. He's a great battler. I mean, he's in the finals for Christ's sake. He definitely knows what he's doing. The week 2 against the Rocky Mountain Marowaks, the fact that that says 4-0 does not say how scary that game was. If Manaphy had decided to attack me instead of switch out back on like turn 4 against my Scar Togekiss, and I did not get that flinch hacks, I think he just straight up won the game, because I had nothing for that Manaphy. And I have nothing on my roster for that Manaphy. The second time we fought him, I had a really unique rotom-mow set that didn't end up even working out. Manaphy was just such a problem for my team, and I mean, Alpha went 8-4 this season. He absolutely was a great coach. He won Coach of the Year, and he had a great season. And we were 2 of his 4 losses, which just says a lot about that. Almost like I'm willing to call it a rivalry. I would say it's a little bit of a rivalry. That 4-0 says nothing about how close that game truly was. Week 3 against the Los Angeles Go-Goats and Ben. I know Ben was feeling ill prior to that game being played. And we definitely had a much better game and a much closer game in Week 10. But Choice Band and Hydreigon was so much fun, and it was so clutch. I'm glad it put in work. I mean, there's not much else I have to say about that other than Choice Band and Hydreigon. Week 4 against the Bayern Munchlax, actually, I made a really close friend in Mega Lugia after we had that match, because we started throwing out ideas for each other's team building. And, I mean, later tonight, I'm going to play Overwatch with him and Alpha and Nick and some other friends. Just because I enjoy their company. They're a lot of fun. They're fun people. And I made a really good friend out of Mega Lugia and the Bayern Munchlax. I know there's talks of him not coming back next season. I really hope he does, because he's a great battler. I mean, he went to the NPL semifinals where he ended up losing to Adam Bees Knees. And I really do hope he comes back next season. And everyone got a kill in that game. That's why you guys see player of the matches, everyone go team. I couldn't pick just one because everybody did their job and put in work. It was a lot of fun. Week 5 against the Portland Crowbats was actually Aki's second loss of the season, second out of only 3 in the entire season, including the Week 1 loss to Mighty Mammoth Swine and his Washington Blazekins, the Week 5 loss to myself, and the playoff semifinal match loss to Rezilient. Aki, I would describe as the best battler you've probably never heard of. Aki is absolutely nuts when it comes to his team building and his play. He's definitely one of the players that's probably the most difficult to compete. I think he was the heavy favorite to win it all this season, and Rezilient absolutely upset him. No disrespect to Aki at all. He's a terrific battler. And that match literally came down to a 50-50 that I ended up getting right. It was my Sneasel and my Chandelure versus his Aggron and his Crobat. Crobat was in, Sneasel, which was Scarf, was in. And it was a matter of, does he switch out into Aggron or not? Because if he switches out into Aggron, I click Icicle Crash, he wins. If I switch out into Chandelure, predicting him to switch out into Aggron, and he stays in with Crobat, he wins. But if he stays in with Crobat and I click Icicle Crash, I win. If he goes down to Aggron and I go out to Chandelure, I win. I ended up staying in and clicking Icicle Crash, and he ended up staying in with Crobat and clicking, I don't know what he clicked. The Crobat ended up dying. But I was able to kill the Crobat, let the Aggron kill me, and then revenge kill the Aggron with Chandelure. We ended up winning that match 1-0. Whew. I almost ran out of breath saying that sentence. So just a really good match against Aki. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. He's a great battler, and I'm really excited. I hope I get to play him next season as well. Week 6 against Turbo Blaze and his Hidden Leaf Village Rose Raids. That was a very close match that I don't think should have been a very close match, but I mean, I said this in the battle that went up. I wasn't trying to make excuses when I had that battle with him, but I think it was like probably 4 in the morning when I had that battle with him, just because he lives in England, Great Britain, the UK somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where. I've never really asked him, but I know he doesn't live in America, so he's his time zone is very different from mine, and his schedule and mine just didn't really line up. We ended up playing that match Monday morning, even though our battles are supposed to be done by Sunday. And that was a very close match. I mean, I set up rocks on a Mega DNC. I was definitely out of it for that match, but we ended up winning. I don't know if we deserved to win, but at the end of the day, we did, and that's all that matters. Turbo is a great battler. He had a very rough season just because his accuracy was like 17%, and he didn't really have a great draft. But I think if Turbo gets a good team, Turbo could definitely be a threat to go far in the league. Week 7 against the Cincinnati Star Raptors and their coach Paterdactyl are one of our only 2, technically 3, losses of the season. Coming at the hand of a Yachi Berry Salamence that lived a Icicle Crash from my Scarf Sneasel. If that Salamence had died or didn't have Yachi Berry, we would have easily won that game. I'm not sure if that was a roll. I actually realized I never even calculated if it was a roll to kill with Yachi Berry, but at the end of the day, he ended up living it and cleaned up the rest of my team with Salamence. Salamence ended up winning Mon of the Week that week. Absolutely great game to Pat. I have no salt whatsoever for losing to him. He had a great team this season. Honestly, it made me think, like, do I maybe want to try out Mega Alakazam? A lot of the things he had on his team were stuff that I was considering drafting, notably Vaporeon. Was something I had originally wanted on my team. My original first 6 picks I actually wanted were going to be Mega Venusaur, Jirachi, Togekiss, Hydreigon, Donphan, and Vaporeon. But that didn't end up working out because Donphan and Vaporeon were scooped up, so I got Tentacruel and Dugtrio instead, and I'm so happy that they did because I would have never gotten to use Dugtrio. But nonetheless, we had a great match against Pat, and I'm so... honestly, I'm very satisfied with that match, even though we lost. Week 8 against the Columbus Carnivines and their coach, Nerdy Outlaw. That was just kind of like... It was a good match against Nerdy. Nerdy definitely struggled all season long. He didn't end up winning a single game. But I think that's just because Nerdy is a little bit inexperienced in the league format. I think if he got better, Nerdy definitely has potential to be a great battler because, I mean, he loves Pokemon, he loves battling. So it's unfortunate. I don't think he'll be returning for Season 3. But at some point in the future, I do hope I get to battle him again because he's a very good friend of mine. He was one of the very first friends I had in the league format because when I had originally joined the NPL, there was a little war going on between 2 leagues, our league and another league called the NPL. And Nerdy had actually helped me asked me to help him team build for the match he was supposed to have against Crobat for the win, which didn't end up actually happening. But I mean, I don't want to sound weird when I say it, but we kind of bonded over that experience. I taught him a lot. I actually learned a lot from his mindset and a lot of different things about the league format. So I consider him one of the very first friends I had in the NPL, and it sucks he's not going to be coming back for next season. I really hope he does return in the future. Another team that unfortunately will not be returning for Season 3, I believe, as far as I know. Get out of the way. My device is fully protected, I promise. Fuck off. But anyways, another team that is unfortunately will not be returning is the Kentucky Luxuries and their coach Grim Absol, another coach who got into the NPL through the NPL tryout tournament. The match with Grim literally came down to the fact that I think he sacked off his Talonflame way too early and he had nothing for Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur ended up winning Mon of the Week that week, and that's what really rocketed him up into the kill leaders. Mega Venusaur actually ended up finishing 5th, or I think tied for 5th in overall kills this season, which was amazing for a defensive Pokemon. And the battle with Grim and the Kentucky Luxuries definitely helped that. Grim was definitely a very good battler. I never battled him in the NPL tryout tournament, but he actually ended up battling Adam the Bee's Knees, and he had a very good battle against him in the semifinals. I don't think Grim was kind of all focused so much on the league. I think he had a lot of other personal things going on, which is very unfortunate. And he will not be returning for Season 3 as far as I know, but I mean, I have no real authority, so I'm not really in a position to say, but it was definitely a great match. Week 10, the rematch against the Los Angeles Go-Go's. That was a nail-biter, and that literally came down to physical bulk. Togekiss took an Ice Punch from Mega Medicham and killed it, and then Mega Venusaur took a +2 Earthquake from Landorus Therian and then killed it to finish off the game. I mean, that is some bulk. Neither of those were rolls. I was calced to live both of those. But it ended up being such a great match. Very much so a better match than the match we had in Week 3. Week 11, the rematch with the Rocky Mountain Marowaks was honestly it was kind of like a Volkner moment. If you guys ever played through 4th-gen, it's kind of like a Volkner moment. It kind of like refueled my fire for battling. I mean, I have played against Nerdy and Grim, both of which were opponents who kind of didn't really take the match too seriously, or nobody really thought of them as real threats. I mean, I still took them as real threats just because, I mean, I have to consider every opponent a threat, because if I take it too easy, I'll lose. And then we had the match with Ben, which was kind of like a very close match. I felt like that was one of the better matches we had this season, but definitely the best match we had this season was Week 11 against the Rocky Mountain Marowaks. So much hacks on my side happened. There was a lot on his side as well, but definitely way more on my side. And Alpha just showed me some of the craziest stuff in the world. He had a cursed belly drum Snorlax. He had a Cosmic Power Baton past Mega Lopunny. Like, if it wasn't for Jirachi having Serene Grace, Thunder Wave, and Iron Head, Reuniclus would have cleaned up my team. I'm so happy with the way that match turned out, even though we barely won. It was such a hacksy match as well, but honestly, it was just such a fun match. The Week 12 match with Rezilient didn't matter at all. We both knew we were going to play each other in the first round of the playoffs no matter what, because we knew that Aki won his match against Mighty Mamoswine, which meant Aki was playing Alpha guaranteed, and it was literally just a matter of who would win the division and take the 2nd seed as opposed to the 3rd seed. So neither of us really took that match seriously. We both kind of saved our creative sets for our playoff match. But it was still a good match. We ended up winning. That's actually our first win against Rezilient in our career. That was the 4th time we had battled him. We at that point we were 1-3. We are now 1-4 against him. That match ultimately did not matter. Rezilient did not care enough to really try to win. I don't want to say he let me win, but neither of us really wanted to win in particular. Like, it would have been nice to win. So nobody except for myself, Rezilient, and anybody who watches this video will know the difference between 1-4 and 0-5 against Rezilient. Actually, I'm going to say 1-4 and 0-4 because I'm not going to count Week 1. But nonetheless, the match with Rezilient, fun match, didn't matter too much. The playoff match, which unfortunately I will not be able to record for you guys, but you guys should definitely go check him out. I got screwed over by Yachi Berry again. It kind of seemed like berries were the ultimate cause of my demise, I guess is the best way to put it. Very good match with Rezilient. He ended up winning 3-0, I believe. And he's going on to the NPL finals where he could potentially take the NPL title, which is, I'm so happy for him. He's a very good friend of mine, and I'm supporting him 100%. But anyways, very successful NPL Season 2. If there is a Season 3, which as far as I know, we are getting ready for Sun and Moon, and we're going to have a Season 3. I am absolutely sticking around for Season 3, and I hope a lot of as far as I know, a lot of the other coaches will be as well. I know Alpha and pretty much all the opponents, I believe, except Nerdy and Grim that we played this season, will be returning, and maybe Megalugia. But they will be returning for Season 3, so you guys should definitely be excited for that. With Sun and Moon coming out, I definitely have a lot of series in mind with work slowing down because if you guys did not know, I work for the football team at my university that I go to, the University of Nevada. So I work for the football team. With our football season coming near the end, I will have a lot more time to put forth towards YouTube because I will not have to work so much. So I have a couple of non-Pokemon related series I want to do. Actually, as I said earlier, I think I might be recording Overwatch tonight, this evening, when I play with some friends. So you guys might be seeing that video as well. But anyways, I'm very excited for the future. NPL Season 3, here we come. I want to win. Okay, well, actually, we'll say it like this. Goal number 1 is have fun, learn some new things about Sun and Moon, and honestly just enjoy myself. Goal number 2, make playoffs. Goal number 3, beat Rezilient. Goal number 4, win it all. That's all that matters, I think. But anyways, that's going to be it for this video. I do hope you guys did enjoy. Look out for Season 3. Look out for more NPL stuff. Look out for all kinds of crazy stuff because it's going to be a great rest of the year. Finishing out November and December very strong. We're getting ready for Sun and Moon. It comes out in 4 days. I'm so hyped, and I have a test the day it comes out, which I'm not hyped about that. But anyways, that is going to be it for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one later. Go Regis.